Good, you rocking with your boy Czar, all rights reserved, commenter nation, greatest nation since United Nations. We're here talking about the situations going on that we discussed, and we're going to get into it. And part of what I want to put out there going forward is not only looking at the receipts and things we discussed, but also looking at the situations that it was that we were discussed and we're looking at. There were a lot of different situations we thought was very eerie and things going on. We're also looking at the suspect's angle, but as of recently, it has been finalized the confirmation for the $15,000 that is going towards an expert that is of forensics. Now, if the forensic team did the way they should have, why would an expert be called in by a suspect nonetheless? This is very interesting. Also, we know there was no DNA notably or put out there or defined to us or disclosed to us to have been collected for the scenarios that we were looking at. These are all very eerie, synonymous factors. So these experts are what's going to help us to develop and understand more about what it is that we may have missed, what it is that's very interesting, what it is that we want to look forward to understanding in the future, what everything going on means, what it matters the most, just what needs to be disclosed to us in the information being delivered. That's the problem. We need to understand what the factors are that are surrounding. Now, again, there's people saying, oh, it was fraudulent and things, but we already disproved that. I've already been in contact with people that were close to the situation, already understood how these factors correlate, and I have a strong sense of understanding amongst what it is that makes to be something and a factor we could look at and gradually speak about. Now, the fact we've been gradually speaking about this the way we have, we've been able to get to some sort of ordeal where we had to understand it away, and we got to understanding that there was more going on even prior to this situation that may not have been brought to light. That was the definition of what the live stream was about. And the live stream allowed us to see the in-depth nature of how that fixates to every part of the situation in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's through music, whether it's through details, whether it's through people who have something they want to say, whether it's through overall how we examine the situation as a whole. And that's where the credibility counts. The credibility counts in a situation where we're looking at how factors and everything are literally building to the pursuit of understanding versus that of which we've come to understand. Now that we have that out of the way, and now that we understand that, it is very important to look at the other factors, to look at what it is that matters, to look at the details going on in the case that we're trying to understand, and how these details and these factors are going to add up to making a situation in which we can be calm and be cool and collective about the outcome of many different properties. Now, I have a lot of people that watch that don't like it, a lot of people that watch that do enjoy it. Either way, we're on a pursuit of something that's beneficial. It's not just showing a picture here, showing a picture there, then trying to make up a reason of why we're valid in showing a picture or discussing a topic when we're really asking about the topic from the sincerity of our hearts. You see, sincerity is the key factor. We question other sincerity, but how sincere are we to understanding it? I think this channel and everything we've done with this investigation has been more than sincere to understanding what's going on and understanding who's affluent, no matter what's going on. We never had accusations. We never done anything of the sort. We questioned. See, the thing is, people want to paint a narrative about a character, about a persona. Always the person delivering the information instead of questioning the information. So they don't want to ask the questions that are being asked. They want to exaggerate the point of factor on how the question is being asked, why it's being asked. No, it's not that. It is about who's asking it. When a person's focused and fixated on a person and not the situation or the contents around the situation, that is when they come up with faulty analysis. And when you run with a faulty analysis, you end up basically exposing yourself as an inefficient character or a lack of being. That's lack of mind and really don't care less about the justice that happens for a person, but more about a way that you can personify a person that benefits you. And that's part of the problem. We have a lot of people who's trying to build personas and do it is what we did. And you go over and check their social media. All they're doing is posting pictures, posting music, letting the views and the likes roll in as if it's their own intellectual property. You've never heard me play someone else's intellectual property on this channel for reasons. Not just because, I want to do an investigation or something like that, but it's because that doesn't equate or amount to anything about winning. Now, in community, yes, I post things that you can check out. That's because that's not about me doing monetization off of the creative work of what I do interacting with commenters or what I do interacting on a live stream. It's more about a solution and an outcome and less about a situation and who's benefiting and who's not. That's the problem. And when a person's not intelligent enough to explain it that way, it already gives away their character, that they're doing it for other reasons than that of which makes sense. These experts come through, they come up with some solution. What's the next move? What's the move then? Because these are suspects and they're still trying to get experts involved in order to show. I don't know if it's to show that they're innocent. I don't know whether it's to prove something. I don't know whether it's to relook at something. I don't know whether they think that they're being falsely accused on everything because they haven't spoken up much, which a lawyer would tell them not to. But the key thing to understand here is that there's going to be some type of conclusion dealing with a mainstream high level case of this sort. You're talking about a rapper that was one of the largest rappers in his area, in his era, and it going to a point where they have people that are declaring suspects when it doesn't exactly match the situation. How did it start? Why did it start? How did they know to show up at the location? How did they tell him to get there? How did they know where he was to even tell him from where he was if allegedly he was tailed? So there's a lot of questions around that. These four men alone could not have coordinated unless there was an inside man. Because if they didn't walk in and an immediate reaction didn't happen as far as him going up to them or doing something, it makes you think there had to be a familiar factor and how someone was able to be there without having to interact directly with him. Because there was no direct interactions from either suspect that they have there other than other situations where they were around. These are the things that are in question. So don't forget, as these experts unveil information, what we're asking and what we're trying to understand. Don't forget, as these other people who claim to be socialites in our era and they do nothing to further a cause behave, how it affects the overall procedure in which we use to divulge knowledge and to just build a foundation that is solid in nature. These things are very, very clerical. And when people take it out of that context, you literally build a persona to show your character as selfish. It shows you as bad people. It doesn't show you as someone who cares. It doesn't show you as someone who wants to see the good come out of it. It actually shows you as someone who may have had something to gain. And that's a dangerous factor, being what we now know to be true on all the moving parts. So if there's a moving part, you don't put your hand in, you don't put your foot in. You have to analyze it, see how to shut it off. Then you can examine what the issue is. We've done that here. We've shut off from all the publics claiming of different things without having the proof, just using the outlet's credibility in the past to say future wise, oh, they're so credible. We took that away and we built a foundation where people could freely think, critically think, and develop their mind to understand that of which is far beyond the norm of which they've been accepting. That's not something easy to do. That's actually one of the hardest things to do when it comes to media. And on top of that, we've developed our own understanding of what it is in our lives we can look at critically. This is a movement of the mind that has helped people to develop not only their character, not only what they plan to do in their goals, but it also has developed their teaching, the way they teach, how they teach, what they want to teach. These are things that need to be passed on to the generation when we're watching a generation so lost in the music, so lost in the situation that they're literally forgetting what is very important to accomplishing goals and how to goal set. So I want everybody to take this time today. Think of what it is you gained from this. Think of what it is you look to gain and understand going forward. And think critically about the experts being involved and what can be divulged off of these experts. Tomorrow, we're going to have some more coming up. I got deeper subjects I want to talk about, and we're going to build as we always do. You know how I rock, how I always rock. All rights reserved.